Welcome back.
Roberto,
Oh, welcome back.
The first Rio movie was all about our friend Blue, literally going out of his cage and being forced to explore the outside world and face the harsh and cruel reality in all its toughness. This was his local journey, so to speak, a little yet important step towards self-knowledge. It helped our guy to earn some much-needed street cred, you know? But Rio 2, as every sequel that's worth its salt, needed to be bigger, riskier, and smarter if it wanted to be as successful as the first movie, and we think it pretty much accomplishes this feat. This time the outside journey is quite a literal one. We see Blue, his now wife Jewel, and their 3 little kids traveling across Brazil to reach the deep and mysterious Amazon forest, a place full of secrets, dangers, and revelations that will let the family discover that they are not the last of their species as they previously believed, making them redefine the concepts of love, family, and home. Do you want to know if you caught all the secrets and little details this wonderful movie has to offer? Let's start reviewing them together.
Hey, you lovebirds! Happy New Year!
Raffy? Where are the
Kids are with Louise. No worries.
worries? Right here.
Do you remember Fernando, the little kid who works for the bad guys in the first movie and kidnaps Blue? There's so much more than meets the eye regarding this character. If you were really paying attention to Rio, maybe you'll remember Fernando wasn't too happy about doing his horrible job of imprisoning exotic birds. He did this out of necessity. At some point, we come to know he's alone in the world. No parents, no family, no pets, no money to support himself, and no place to belong. But when Rio ends, we see that Linda and Tulio practically take him in. It's a blink and you miss a detail, but in Rio 2, we actually see the kid working and living in the Blue Bird Sanctuary, making us understand that he was rescued from the streets and a life without a family. It's a subtle yet beautiful micro-story well hidden in the background of the movies. We bet you hadn't seen it in this way, have you?
Linda. Blue? It's Blue! Look, Tulio, it's Blue! And he's flying!
Even though this character has little screen time, he is one of undisputable importance. When he first appears, he just is some mysterious, shadowy figure with obscure intentions. But if we look closely at his office, we'll see that he keeps a tank full of piranhas, predatory fish that mercilessly eat anything in their reach. This is a small detail the writers used to let us know a bit more of this character's traits in advance. Just like the piranhas, the boss is a relentless, hungry, and ravenous individual who will devour anything in his path to get what he wants, exploiting the resources in the Amazon forest at the expense of the wildlife.
Let's see if it will return the favor. Tree huggers.
Did you notice that these peculiar half-brown, half-black waters surrounding the boat in the Amazon River? Well, they aren't just there to create an amazing color palette. Actually, this is a famous place known as the Meeting for the Waters, which marks the confluence of the Amazon River and Rio Negro, the Black River. It is an amazing bi-colored strip of water that spans across 3.7 miles before the waters from both rivers actually mixed together, and it's one of the main tourist attractions in Brazil. The director actually traveled to the Amazon forest to get to know the place and look for inspiration for the movie. In an interview for a digital newspaper, he even declared, "I decided I could not make a movie about the Amazon and not have been there. I wanted to go through Blue's journey, the city boy in the rainforest, and it was a blast. It was way more than I expected." So we know for sure this impressive sight made an impact on him. Another nice detail to catch in the scene is the name of the boat itself. It means blue sky as a little nod to our protagonist.
Oh, this air. It's so fresh and full. Goodbye, stinky city air!
The poisonous frogs are well known in the Amazon and among its inhabitants. Their poison has been used for centuries by the natives to drive psychedelic experiences and to make poisoned arrows. This is the inspiration for Nigel to create poisonous darts combining porcupine shards with Gabby's natural poison. What's so funny about this is a plot twist in the end when we realize, along with Gabby, that we've been lied to all along. She isn't really a member of the poisonous species. It was all a misinformation belief. However, there's another kind of poison tying Nigel and Gabby together. When Gabby sings about poisonous love, comparing Nigel and herself to Romeo and Juliet, the scene gives us two important hints. First, there is some kind of dark fate for both of them, that fantastic scene with Nigel apparently dying with Gabby ready to follow him into death, just as the Shakespearean drama. And second, when Nigel says "what a nightmare" at the end of the song, he's clearly telling us that poor Gabby is going to suffer an unrequited love.
Midnight! Time to attack! Nigel.
Nigel is by far the best accomplished character in the movie. We constantly catch him living life as a character in the most Shakespearean way possible. We first encounter him reciting Hamlet while he's being forced to live a life below his self-perceived dignity as a low-budget fortune teller in an open market's cheap show. If we further analyze this character, we understand he's suffering from PTSD since he can no longer fly, presumably severely injured from his encounter with the plane's propeller from Rio. That's why we never see him take that weird Elizabethan vest off. Ironically, he's traded places with his foe, Blue, and we can't forgive him for this. He's dead serious about revenge, even as he keeps acting, playing a role inspired by Shakespeare's tragedies. He's a tragic character willing to take his tragedy to the ultimate consequences. Nigel is so immersed in his disassociation game that he kinda gets lost in acting as he crushes an audition for the musical Nico and Pedro are producing with the Amazon animals. Nigel was bound from the start to die tragically besides Gabby, together like Romeo and Juliet. He even dies, sort of mimicking Hamlet's last moments. But amusingly enough, the movie drifts away from all seriousness and a lighthearted twist when all the animals applaud his performance and we discover that Gabby was never poisonous to start with.
Be nicer. No, Charlie! This is unnatural!
When Jules' father is showing them the places he calls their sanctuary deep inside the forest, we can see a big community of macaws hanging weirdly onto the cliff's walls. Did you get what's happening here? It's not easy to understand at first sight, but these cliff walls are called clay licks, and yes, the macaws are eating clay. It just so happens that macaws, parrots, and parakeets used to visit the clay licks to eat clay regularly. But why? Well, since the 1900s, biologists have been studying this phenomenon. And the Amazon and in the Peruvian mountains, they have come to conclude that the clay helps them neutralize toxins consumed in their daily diets. Those toxins come from the often unripe fruits macaws, parrots, and parakeets ingest on their daily diet. Later in the movie, this is confirmed in another short sequence when one of the kids brings a piece of clay for Blue to eat and says she'd just learned from the village that eating clay is good for digestion. This doesn't mean it's some yummy dish though. Blue isn't even able to swallow the clay.
Hey Dad, Aunt Mimi says clay is good for your digestion. Try some.
No, sweetie, I just brushed my...
It's good, right?
Dance and music are very important in this movie. Music isn't just there as a background, it is the external manifestation of the soul's own wellness. It's a state of mind. In the first movie, we learn that birds feel the music in their hearts and get in sync with nature and the rest of the birds. Remember how the music is brutally interrupted when they first take baby Blue from the forest? These moments create a deep psychological trauma in the baby bird, which ultimately stops him from learning to fly. Only when he's able to connect with the purest feelings and to feel the music in his heart once again, he's able to learn to fly. In Rio 2, we can see how Blue is starting to emotionally drift as he doesn't engage in dancing and singing as part of the Blue Macaws community. He's overwhelmed by change and by Roberto's overwhelming mannerisms and presence. In the game against the Red Macaws, the sports announcer in the Pit of Doom sounds exactly like a Mexican sports commentator. We can see this kind of inaccuracy repeating throughout the movie. The writers seem to continuously mistake accents and include words and expressions in Spanish, which is not Brazil's spoken language. They should all be speaking Portuguese, or at least sporting a Brazilian Portuguese accent.
They lure you in. They trap you. They destroy your mind. Polly, want a cracker? Polly, want a cracker? No! Enough crackers!
Maybe you didn't realize this, but behind all those sexy alpha male facade, Roberto projects and his physical presence and his singing, he's a deeply scarred individual. When he sees the humans approaching to the village, he starts to freak out and to talk about crackers and the way humans make pets lose their mind. The movie hints at an obscure part of his past. We can understand that Roberto had a traumatic experience where he was captured and forced to act like a pet. That's why he hates humans and follows Eduardo's decisions blindly, trying to stay as far of them as possible. He's not willing to go through all of that again. We see his perfect facade and confident attitude dwindle as the humans advance with their machines into the side of the groove. Roberto totally loses it and has a full-blown trauma response, losing his ability to lead the Blue Macaws. But hey, luckily it all goes well in the end for the poor guy. That sightseeing training montage where Eduardo teaches Blue some survival abilities really paid off, allowing Blue to take command of the forces, completing his personal path of the hero. We're sure that Roberto won't have to eat crackers ever again, and he'll be able to enjoy Brazilian nuts with the rest of the tribe. Oh, and by the way, did you know that Roberto was played by Bruno Mars? No wonder why he can really strike some high notes. Did you notice all these details, secrets, and subplots? What else did you notice in Rio 2? Show us your observation skills and let us know in the comments what other details you caught. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this content with your friends.
Oh man, how come Dad gets to have all the fun?